Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. Today I would take a look at several metal releases I've been checking out. And the first one I'm going to look at is a pretty cool one. That being the vinyl discography box set of Nin Division 187. If you're unfamiliar with the band, they were a Swedish black metal group and a supergroup of sorts, as they consisted of 2 members of Dawn, 1 member of the Primordial, and 1 member of Canaris Quintet. They would put out a couple things in the mid-90s and would break up, never to be heard from again. What does the band sound like? Simply put, violent Swedish black metal, ranging from the more extreme Marduk releases to Dawn themselves, which makes sense as Nin Division are basically considered a Dawn side project. The members of Dawn that are in Nin Division are the drummer and the vocalists, and even though they're playing a very different version of black metal, if you're a fan of Dawn, that vocal and drum performance definitely shines through as being uniquely theirs. So in this box you also have a sticker and a short booklet with some pictures and a little bit of information there. And 2 vinyl records, because again, this is a pretty short discography. So the first thing we're going to look at is Towards Judgment. Towards Judgment was originally released as a cassette demo in 1996, and then would be re-recorded and re-released on CD on Acropolis Records, also in 1996. And that's not the original artwork. This is like a close-up of the original artwork. The vinyl is kind of a black and gray mixture. And again, one side CD version, one side cassette version. My favorite songs on here are probably the final 2, A View in the Mirror Black, which would go on to be represented on the full-length album, and the closer, Towards Judgment. So next up, you have the one and only full-length album, Impergium, released originally in 1997 on Acropolis Records. The vinyl here being gray and black. I'd say the most known song by the band is Genocide, which is the closest thing to like a mixtape, straightforward black metal banger. And I gotta admit it probably is the highlight here. The song after that, Judgment Dawns, has kind of a weird, awkward feel, but into that too. The Execution, Funeral Pyres, could go on, kind of a forgotten black metal classic. And I've never really been able to differentiate a whole lot between what the style difference might be with these 2 releases, but the Terminus Extreme Metal podcast did a pretty cool episode on these guys, and in their estimation, the EP was a bit more epic, and the full length was a bit more straightforward and aggressive, although I never personally really picked up on a massive style difference between the 2. So next up, Malignant Worthlessness, the 3rd and most recent full-length album by the American death metal band Pissgrave. I was definitely a big fan of the debut album, Suicide Euphoria, and the second album as well. I just never got around to picking that one up. So this album, this band in general, I've never really been too much for like, I love these riffs, I love this song. It's just kind of been more of like a sound thing that I, stick in the car just when you want something really nasty. I really like those vocals. I really like the sound. But I spent a lot of time with this album, and the songs started growing on me. My favorites are probably In Heretic Blood Christen, the opener. I also really like the closer, Mystical Obscenities, and the way that song just burns into flame at the end. But I think my number one's got to be Heaping Pile of Electrified Gore. How's that for an album title? Sticking with Profound Lore Records, I also have the 2025 CD re-release of True Trader. I never got around to picking this up back in the day, despite being a Leviathan fan. So, to my recollection, upon its initial release in 2011, I thought the reviews seemed pretty average to negative. And maybe part of that was the controversy surrounding the album at the time. But it's been years since I've listened to this, and I'm definitely glad to have this on CD because I'm really enjoying it. My favorite song here is probably Contrary Pulse, even though it kind of feels almost like an interlude song in a way. It just really nails that cold and unique atmosphere and sound that I don't think anyone but Leviathan really comes close to matching. I also quite like Shed This Skin, probably the closest thing to a straightforward black metal song on here, and Blood Red and True, kind of a cool doomier song on here. Check it out if you haven't. It's been a while since Leviathan put out anything new. Last time they put out was Scar-Sighted, and that was, at this point, a full decade ago. But Leviathan are very much still a band, I believe, so looking forward to something hopefully within the next couple years. Finally, we're going to look at the second full-length album by the French black metal band Necropole. And this album is called Yoga on Northern Heritage. I think this came out in 2022, 2023. Doesn't say here, but about then. I was kind of unfamiliar with this band, but I heard that this release was one of the best releases of the year it came out in. So finally checked it out. Definitely has something in common with label mates Magua. But more than anything, definitely doing the French black metal sound. You know, kind of has that very melodic, somewhat arrogant sound. My favorite tracks on here are probably The Manifold Realm and the closer, The Yoke. I hear most fans referencing the opener, Lustration, and track 5, Scivias. But yeah, those are definitely my two favorite songs. And I definitely am interested in hearing more of in this style, this melodic French black metal. Lots of good stuff here. Definitely a little bit of controversy with this band from what I understand, but quality black metal nonetheless. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.